Welcome to Defending Our Children, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to Defending Our Children. We have a health hero on the show today, Tim James. He's a friend of mine. He's been helping me with my health, helping me recover and detox, get rid of a lot of the toxic chemicals that have built up in my body because I've been subjected to all kinds of inoculations and chemicals and toxins over the decades in 60 countries around the world, and all kinds of things in the water and everything else in the food. And he's really been a tremendous help to me. His name's Tim James, and he runs chemicalfreebody.com. Tim, welcome to the show. And I would invite you to further introduce yourself to the degree that you would like for everybody to understand who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Thanks, Craig and Forrest, for having me on the show. And thanks for the listeners for being here. If you're here, it means that your heart's in the right spot and you're looking to, do good things. And I think this show is a good wake up call to people. And I think Vets for Child Rescue is a place where people can actually take action. And you can actually, because there's all these people raising money all over the place, but they're not really doing anything substantial with it that actually moves the needle. And you guys really are. So I want to thank you for your work and what you're doing, because it's really important. And we need, you should have billions of dollars of funding and we could just eradicate this problem that's happening with the children right now. But anyway, so one of the reasons I'm so passionate about it and why I become a donor to Vets for Child Rescue is because I grew up on a cattle and hay farm, hunting and fishing. I was raised with good moral values, and do what is right. You be a man of your word. But the problem is that I also grew up on the standard American diet. And so did my parents, and they didn't know any different. So they became food addicts like I did, and like most of us are. By the age of 37, even though I'd played baseball at a high level for 30 years, I was a financial advisor, and I found myself basically pooping blood. I had eczema on elbows and my knees, cracking and bleeding, acid reflux, terrible, mental fog. I was crumbling from the inside out. Going to the bathroom was a very painful experience, followed by blood. And then I had to be life flighted in Peru on a vacation to get an emergency surgery to save my life. And that's where the medical community shines. They're really good at emergency and crisis care, and they saved me. And I don't ever want to have to do that again. So, but I came back home and I really wasn't, I tried all kinds of stuff, guys. I tried high fat, low fat, high carb, low carb, high protein, low protein, 5 meals a day. Tried juicing at one point in time, but I found out I juiced the wrong stuff, too much sugary things. My health wasn't getting any better. It wasn't until my friend got cancer, my friend Charles, I went to Hippocrates Wellness Center in Florida and learned about detoxing and nutrition. And they basically teach you about, besides, just doing all the protocols there, it's school. So it's like a re-education camp for plugging your butt back into nature and learning about all this stuff and learning what's going on in the food industry and the agricultural industry. And I was pretty shocked because, as a farmer growing up, I didn't realize what we were doing was killing the soil, which was the root cause of why our guts are being destroyed and our health has been destroyed because of the loss of nutrients and so many other things and the pollution that's created from this stuff. So I completely transformed my life at that place. I came back home. Me and my buddy Charles, he healed himself of his cancer in 2.5 years right in front of me. Right. I was right there with him, helping him, growing stuff. And we got into sprout growing and all this stuff. So I became a mini farmer again in my house down in Portland, Oregon. That just went crazy. I healed myself in 60 days. I'd lost all the weight. I dropped the 42 pounds. My skin issues were completely gone, except for my knee. That took about 8 months because that first patch of eczema on my left knee was pretty thick. It was pretty big, painful. It finally dissipated, and I lost, like I said, I went from extra larges and larges down to medium and small shirts again. And I basically got my health back and my mental clarity back. And so at that point in time, I was better prepared to fight for things. And I had the energy to, do stuff when I came home, like play catch with my kid. And I know a lot of the people I talk to don't. Like, they feel bad. They feel like they're a terrible parent because they just don't have the energy to do anything when they get home with their children. They just can't do it. And especially as the kids get older, man, then they really have a hard time, right, to keep up with them. Yeah. My kids have a hard time keeping up with me. I'm 50. I just started. You're going to be proud of me, Craig. I started jujitsu a couple months ago. Really liking it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, you're talking about the energy, man, and that's one of the main things that I want. I want to be mentally as clear as I can and have the energy and the health that I need to do the best job I can for the mission for the children, because it's the new lease on life for me. I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
had this level of passion and excitement about doing something and making a difference in many years. And so this mission is something that's inspired me to really work on trying to make the most of the health that I can out of my physical body and my physical brain, so I can do the best job I can. So
Yeah. Well,
um
you've done a good job too. You're one thing I love about military and athletes and law enforcement and just these people, like they take action, and that's the key thing. They just don't know what to take action on. Obviously, a lot of people get stuck and they don't know. And I just love working with people like yourself because they're like, do this, do this, do this, and you do it, do it, do it. And then if two out of the three things work for you, you keep it. And if the one thing didn't work, we pitch it and we try that, try that, try that. And we just start, it's creating those habits and those lifestyles, right?
well
You sauna every day now, don't you? And you're
yeah.
pounding the water and you're taking the
Yeah.
products and then after a while, it just becomes a lifestyle. And then you add on more stuff. You slowly, constantly improving. And that's it. This isn't like you have to do, complete lifestyle change unless you've got stage 4 cancer and then you have the energy and the propensity to do so. But for most people, we just meet them where they're at in their busy, crazy, stressed out lives. And we help them reduce the stress, clean out the body, clean out the gut, detox the cells, and then flood the body with nature and let the immune system do its job and start building that sucker back. And it's about a 2 to 3 year process to build your immune system up to top levels, whether you do have stage 4, glioblastoma brain cancer, or you're an Olympic level athlete. It takes the exact same time to build up your immune system. Most people have no idea how good they can feel. And I know because every time I think I can't feel any better, I discover something else or I add something else in. I go, boop, boop. I go up a level or 2 or 3 levels. That's what I get to do for a living now. My job is to get as healthy as I possibly can, have as much energy as I possibly can, have as much mental clarity and acuity as I possibly can, and then learn how to share that with other people. Right.
Yeah.
And so meeting people where they're at, it's fun. It's like, it's not even work. Like, I'm so excited to be here and talk to you guys today, and knowing that there's other people on the other end listening that I could possibly help. If I can help one person or 5 or 10 or 100, I am stoked because I know what it's like to live in fear. And that is not a place where you're really going to accomplish what God intended you to do. So whatever that is, fear is holding you back, and you got to get flow in your life. You have to, let the things in that'll support you and let go of the things that aren't. And fear is definitely something that we have to move through.
Well, this is all stuff that I'm excited to get into. We want to direct it toward the children on this show. So we got less than 2 minutes to go into this first break, Tim, but let's start rolling into how do we apply this to our children? What challenges and threats are our children facing, and how do we steer them into a healthier childhood and set them up for a better
All right.
adulthood?
So, and we're going to give you guys solutions too. So we're just not going to point out all the insidious stuff on the dark side here, but there is stuff going on that's not cool. So I was just telling you guys, I just watched the movie Sound of Freedom. And, I know a lot of this stuff because, I watched Contraland a long time ago, and because I've, helped you and we've been working together and become friends. I've learned of all these children, like 800,000 children in America are being abducted, 1 million in Europe. And they said on the thing last night, 2 million a year are being stolen. And I'm here to tell everybody, it's like that. It gets people when they finally realize what's going on. It is a heartbreaker. But there's another heartbreaker going on. It's just as insidious. It's like your children's cells are being raped with chemicals. They're being raped with chemicals. And it's not just going in and getting jabbed, which, if you want to look at it, and the definition of rape is penetration, you're getting penetrated, a needle's going into you. And if that's not delivering something that's actually going to help your children, then as far as I'm concerned, it's rape. So I think, the break's coming up, and I think we should pick up there about what I'm talking about, and then I'll go into detail with it.
I like that. Yeah, we'll unpack that on the other side and throttle up quickly and let everybody know what's going on and what we can do about it. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back with a lot more from Tim James. Welcome back, everyone, to Defending Our Children. We are on with health hero Tim James. We're just about to start talking about what we can do to educate our children on all of the things that are facing them now, chemically, in the foods and everything they're encountering. How can we bolster them against it? so that they're smart on it and they can choose wisely to have a strong, healthy childhood. It'll build them into strong, healthy adults. Tim, throttle up, brother.
All right. So we were talking about, here's the deal. Our children are being raped right now with chemicals. That's what's happening. They're literally inside of their cells. So everybody has to do when you're done listening to this show today is go to your browser and type in 3 little words: umbilical cord chemical. Umbilical cord chemical. I've been telling people to type those 3 words in for 12 years, and things have not changed. And you would think that when people go type that in, they see what's going on, we would start taking some solutions. One of the first ones you'll see from the environmental working group pops up that says body burden, the pollution in newborns, right? So what ends up happening on average, let's say these scientists, researchers, and doctors, what they'll do is they'll test for, let's say, 400 chemicals in the womb. Now, remember, these are young women and children. These should be the healthiest people on the planet, right? Because they're younger, they're fresh, okay? And what do they look for? 400 chemicals. Craig, they're finding 71% of what they look for. Okay, about 250 chemicals in the womb, in the cell, and actually in the blood serum. Okay, let's be specific about that. In the blood serum. Now, 180 of those chemicals cause cancer in humans. Let that sink in for a moment, guys. 180 chemicals in the womb of all of our children cause cancer. 212 cause developmental and brain disorders. They're in the freaking womb. Your children have been raped. How the hell did that stuff get in there? We'll get into that.
Wow.
So yeah.
Do they do the same test in other countries like in Europe and Asia?
I don't know. What I've done is I created an ebook called Dying in the Womb, and it was a revamp of this umbilical cord toxicity study. So I actually posted some of these studies, and we're redoing it again. So I did a little intro. I basically posted a couple of the full articles of science research that was done, and then I put another page with about 10 more links so people can go. So if they just, if they think I'm BSing them, it's like, go look. And that's the thing. Like when I went to Hippocrates, and I was very skeptical when they looked at me, but what they did was they did a blood test, and they did what's called live blood cell microscopy. So they had pictures on the wall, and they were like, that's a healthy cell, and this is healthy blood, and this is an unhealthy person. And then I'm like, oh, and then I looked at my blood and it looked like the unhealthy person. I'm like, oh, I got work to do. And they're like, we're going to show you how to get from here to here. I'm like, I want that. And I did that, right? So, but the blood doesn't lie. If people don't believe me, that go get a blood test. Like this is like, it's all over the internet too. And it's been there. And every once in a while, they'll let a little bit out on TV or the news channel. There'll be a little 1-minute thing on it, but nobody's taking action on it. Nobody's really doing anything. So we can't wait around anymore. Us adults have to do it. The working class people, we need to unite. And this is just one problem, but it's a systemic issue. So the reality is that our children are polluted, and they're testing the blood serum. But let me just tell you the gravity of the situation here. They tested for 400 chemicals. There's over 100,000 toxic chemicals that are out there. Our government, our elected officials have wrote policies that allow chemical companies to submit an application to get approved. And I believe it's if they don't get approved within 90 or 120 days, something like that, then they're automatically approved and released. Only 0.25% of these chemicals that are put through this process actually get tested. The rest are just released. That is freaking ridiculous that they're allowing this to happen. These are toxic. And we see what happens. It's like, do you guys remember the commercials like DDT is good for me? The government was pushing it out there and they're spraying it on the beach with kids. And it's like, now it's like, it's terrible. And they know it kills people. Another one would be Monsanto. Most people know about glyphosate because if you watch Grit TV, the country Western deal, like my dad does 24/7, every third commercial is like, if you've been exposed to glyphosate, the main ingredient of Roundup, you may be entitled to compensation. The groundskeeper in California just won a $272 million lawsuit for his lymphoma cancer. Over $10.2 billion has been paid out for these cancer. These attorneys are going after and trying to find people that have lymphoma cancer that were exposed to glyphosate, the main ingredient of Roundup, yet you can still buy this stuff. Farmers are still spraying it today right across the field over here on genetically modified wheat. That's what they're doing. It's still legal. Yet they're using the legally, attorneys are paying thousands of dollars running ads. Why? Because they're going to make millions. They make like 30 to 40% of whatever they win. These cases are slam dunked. These companies don't care, and that's okay. Remember, we all have choices. You can choose the light or you can choose the dark. We can't get mad at these companies anymore because they choose the dark. We have to get mad at ourselves for buying the crap products that they're producing and keep buying them. And just like lemmings, and I like my croissant. Well, if your croissant was grown in genetically modified wheat sprayed in glyphosate, you are part of the problem. So you have to fricking find out where your food's coming from. Because if you keep buying it, they're not going to stop selling it. The root of the evil or the darkness is you. If you don't get aware, if you don't have, well, number one, if you don't have the awareness, like I didn't have the awareness, but once you do have this awareness, you now have a responsibility. I was telling my son last night, it was like, or 2 nights ago, when we watched that Sound of Freedom movie. It's like, I can't remember the quote, but it was like, something about when, the thing for evil to triumph is when good men do nothing. When good human beings have awareness of something and you sit on your butt and you don't do anything, well, you're part of the problem, right? And so my goal is to help people take their health back, become your own doctor, learn to self-heal, get your energy back, get your mental clarity back so you can kick ass in your entire life, be a great father, great mother, aunt, uncle, be a great member of your community, be a light, and then be able to have the energy to go out and do more and help solve these problems. And the first thing it starts with is what you're putting in your grocery cart. Your buying dollars is how you vote today. Whether you believe the election systems are rigged or not, which they are, they have been for decades, then you can still vote with your dollars. Like when you buy something, you're driving industry or you're driving chemicals into our children. The choice is yours. So you have to start reading labels, and you have to learn where your stuff comes from. You have to start buying fresh food and local food. This is how we're going to change things. Now, back to something, Craig, I just want to make a point here, is that I'm talking about these umbilical cord studies. They were only testing the blood serum. In the fat and the muscle tissue, these chemicals are 500 to 1,000% more concentrated in your children and in us. And the older you are, like us guys, 30s, 40s, Craig's probably like 27. He's looking great. So I'm 50, right? I don't know how old you are, Forrest, but Craig, you're in your 50s, right?
I'll be 60 in October.
Yeah, you look freaking awesome, dude. Pat Militich told me, he's like, that is not the guy that you want hunting you. the one guy on the planet. Craig Sawyer is not the guy you want after you. We had a little conversation about you after he was on your show. The older we are, the longer we've had to bioaccumulate these toxins from the air we breathe, because we do 400 gallons an hour, the water we drink, the food we eat, the clothing we wear, the personal care products we put on our face and under our armpits, and we wash our shampoo, the sunscreen that's full of toxic cancer-causing chemicals, most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And we are perpetuating all this. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and it's like, look, I'm literally just some redneck that stumbled upon this stuff. And then I got pissed. I released the getting mad thing, and I'm just on a mission to get myself healthy. And I've happened to help other people because I'm all about results. I don't care about all this other stuff. I want to help people get results. We've helped so many people get results, and it's so simple, right? This stuff is not complicated. And it's literally just making a few little changes and cleaning up your air and your water and your food and doing this stuff. And by doing that, you change things. You'll stop raping your children with these chemicals. It is a problem. Children are now being born today with cancer. That's never happened before. And if you look back at the turn of the century, around 1900, only 2 to 3% of the population got cancer. What the hell's happening? All these people that come to me, they're like, I've tried everything. All right, I got to go. Go ahead.
We'll be right back. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back with more from Tim James. Welcome back all to Defending Our Children. We are on with health hero Tim James, talking about the children, what kind of toxins are out there. One of the things that I wish I would have done, Tim, is avoid some of the toxins that really clouded my brain. I've been punched in the head a lot, like a lot of other fighters and guys that have lived violent lifestyles, but also the chemicals, man. I really need as much mental clarity as I can rally these days.
Yeah.
And man, I'd like to hit on that a little bit more, because imagine yourself, you're a child. It's a tough enough world as it is, and you can't focus or think straight because you've got stuff in your body that's just wreaking havoc on your brain. Your brain can't even function properly. And so as a young boy or girl, you feel bad about yourself. You feel dumb. You can't concentrate. You can't focus. You feel down about yourself, and you're not performing well. Your grades are bad. You could see where that'd be a horrible thing, a downward spiral. So Tim, what do you think about all that part?
Well, in regards to your lifestyle and stuff, what you were exposed to, the fat is or the brain is mostly fat. It's made out of these things called glial cells, and just like other fat tissue, they bioaccumulate these toxins. So the older we are, the more important it is to keep those carotid arteries open by having great blood flow. And we do this by doing the stuff we just talked about: having clean air, clean water, clean food, chewing your food well, and fresh foods and things like sprouts. And taking today we have to supplement because the world is just where it is. Like, my company shouldn't even have to exist. Like, people shouldn't have to come and buy products to clean up their blood, their fat, and their muscle tissue of heavy metals, radiation, and pollution. But that's where it's at. People shouldn't have to take products like Green 85 to replace the 85% of nutrients missing in the soil. They shouldn't have to do that because we should be eating fresh foods, but we're not. Right. So it's crazy what's going on now with the kids, man. It's the same thing, because what's happening, if you look at the life expectancy charts, it's like since 2014, life expectancy is dropping like a rock. What that means is our children and grandchildren are now dying younger than us. Just more proof of what I've been talking about. It's like, you have got to get awareness around these chemicals and these toxins. They are freaking killing people. There's three things that are killing people. Stress, number one. Number two, the chemical toxins built up in the fat and the muscle tissue and the brain, all that, in the bloodstream. And then you also have a deficiency in nutrients. If you guys can just focus on those three main categories: having daily things in your life to reduce the stress, getting the toxic chemicals out of the body, and flooding the body with nutrition. That's why these three things have to become a lifestyle. This isn't like you go to the gym and you work out all day and you're going to be buffed and fit your whole life. Everybody knows that's a joke. It doesn't make sense. You have to use your body every freaking time. Every day. It's a habit, right? Just like a white-tailed deer. They go do this. They eat the alfalfa field. They go over the creek at this time. They have a habit. They have a ritual. So we just have to change our habits and our rituals. We change how we think. We change the people that are around us. We stay around people that lift us up. We develop practices of meditation, stillness practice, getting outside, prayer. We meditate. These things that calm us down, right? We hang around people that love us, and we got to get these freaking toxins out of the body. So I'll just give you some of the things that I do. Like, on the daily, I drink copious amounts of purified, restructured water, tons of it. I usually do about half an ounce for every pound I have in body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you do 100 ounces a day. If you're a 100-pounder person, you do 50 ounces a day. If you're in a dry, arid climate, you do a little bit more.
Okay. I think purified, most people can understand what you're talking about there, but talk about restructured. What do you mean by that?
Well, all water has structure. It has different types of structures, but we've kind of lost our way with water. So there's a certain structure that we prefer. It's called H3RO, which actually kind of looks like hero. And that's why we called our system the Water Hero system. We just have those up online recently. We've stumbled across a guy that it's a long story, but he's like a Tesla genius. And it's 3 hydrogen molecules with bonded to 3 oxygen molecules with a very high positive and very high negative charge. So it's balanced. And this water has the ability to carry nutrients into the cell and waste matter out, detox the body almost double. And it also brings energy because it's charged. And that structure actually helps to take it's so powerful that it takes all these chemicals as it goes through the system and renders them back to their elemental state. I haven't even talked to you about this, Craig. We haven't even talked about it. It's before I did I did like a big filter system in my house. It's kind of a long story. That made the water better. My wife's hair issues went away because we went to the city and got that chlorine smell out of it. Then I went to a purification. I went to distilled water, and then that was even better. And I didn't want to drink the other water. And then I went to a triple purifier, And then finally, I found about molecular hydrogen. So I started charging my water with molecular hydrogen. But the unit I was using was actually using the contaminants as the catalyst to create the molecular hydrogen, which made me feel awesome, but I didn't want the contaminants. And then I found this molecular hydrogen machine. And then I realized that, wow, I can create molecular hydrogen without contaminants. I need to do a deep dive on water. So after 12 years, I did a deep dive on water last year. And we found this quantum eraser technology, this water system, and they're like inline systems. You just bolt them on the line in your house, and all your water is cleaned. And it's not like it purifies 90%; it's all of it. So all these elements get rendered back to their elemental state, because even the chemicals that are made on this planet were originally, most of them made from crude oil, which most of that was algae, right? So if we can break them back to their elemental state where they're harmless to humans, that's what we want. Plus the water's charged. And it just does a much better job in the body. Pat will tell you that our inventor he's done tests where you can test the ohmic skin resistance of somebody's skin. Normal people are 3,000 to 5,000. You drink this water and it rockets up to 3 million, which means that you're raising your vibrational frequency tremendously. And then you're just not going to age like everybody else. Even my webmasters told me in the last 6 months, he's like, he just bought one of those things, Bo, because he's like, wow, you haven't changed a lot else besides that machine, have you? And I'm like, no. And he's like, I'm getting one. Right. So he's getting it now too. So the bottom line is water is like 72% of your body. It's a big deal. And Forrest, you asked me where to get them. We have them on the website at Chemical Free Body, under the shop tab, it says Water Hero, or under Tim's favorites. So we have a little handheld model where people can just pour it and get the water done, and take it with them when they're camping or wherever they go on their vacation, or they can get an inline unit for their whole house. So if you want to get if you have a little small house, 1 bathroom, 2 people, you can get the 3/4 inch model. But if you have a 2 bedroom or 2 bathrooms or more, or 3 or more people, you get the 1 inch, and it'll do the whole house. And it's set it and forget it. There's no filters to change or nothing. It's a whole nother technology, which is pretty awesome.
That's cool, man. That's intense. That's a lot to process.
Yeah, we might have to do a whole show on the water. I'll get Joseph, the inventor, on. Let him. That guy's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people
I'm sorry to talk over you. A lot of people that I know, man, they're saying, dude, when you get your water right, it's a big deal, because it's so much of your body's makeup, like you said, and it runs all your systems too.
And it's beautiful, because when you're in a state where you have no energy and your immune system's down, you don't feel like doing anything. You're like, I don't want to go work out. I don't want to change my diet. I don't want to make anything. But if you just change your water, you've just changed a massive input into your machine. Your machinery, it's almost like taking an old car and you've been feeding it gas with water in it, and all of a sudden you give it high octane fuel, it just starts running better, right? And then it's going to go, and then it's got the additives in it to go and start cleaning up the engine too. It's literally like that. Joseph took that water, and in 2 years, he sprinkled it with just 3/4 inch garden hoses on 7 acres of dying pomegranate trees when he bought his farm. And they've doubled in size and come back, and they're producing massive pomegranates. He hasn't even fertilized it. It was just changing the water. He changed the input to the system of the trees. We have a guy on my team, Nick. I don't know if you met him. He's one of our customer service agents.
Hey, Tim, we're going to run out of time on that. So let's let you tell everybody how to find you and support what you do.
We're at chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com. I've got my podcast called The Health Hero Show. It's a lot of free education. I do inner circle coaching every week, where people come and it's live Q&A, and I have other guests on like yourself, or my coaches are there riding shotgun. We have private one-on-one coaching, and we have a litany of tools in our toolkit of supplements and detox and nutrition products that are completely naturally occurring in nature. There is no man-made nothing in them. There never will be. And we're just here to love and support people and help them get their life back.
All right. I sure appreciate that, folks. We hope you can stay tuned for the second half of our show with Tim. But for the rest of you who cannot, join us next time on more Defending Our Children. Welcome, everyone, to Defending Our Children. We are on with health hero Tim James of chemicalfreebody.com. This is our second half of our show with him. Folks, if you didn't catch the first half, I urge you to go back and listen to that one. You will learn a lot that could save your life and would definitely boost your health and change your life for the better. So, Tim, we appreciate your contributions to humanity, what you do to help so many people clean up their health and just overcome so much sickness and disease. And we're here to talk about the children today. So, man, let's continue the conversation. And man, we learned so much about the water and so many other things. What do you think is important to hit on next?
Well, I think we just want to give some practical things that people can do at home. So in the last segment, we went into detail that in all umbilical cord studies that we're showing that all of our children are polluted with over 180 cancer-causing chemicals in the womb. So if that's not enough to get people to start acting and understand that our children have been raped, their health is being stolen, and it's no different than some kid getting nabbed off the street, right? It's still something that's going to lead to a poor quality of life and death at an early age. And again, the life expectancy charts are showing our children and grandchildren are now going to die younger than us. This is the first time this has ever happened.
Yeah, their poor little bodies are just being bombarded from so many sources and directions with these toxins that are destroying their health.
Yeah, and everybody's just kind of going along with it. So I kind of hit a little hard on us adults last time, the working class, and I'm for the working class. I am a working class person. I am a bottoms up dude. I literally grew up on a dirt road. I never had anything handed to me. I had to work for everything. So these kids, man, it's like the ones we have to take care of them. I mean, like that's our job. Like we have to take care of our children. And the way to do that is to take care of ourselves and lead by example. Not be like, okay, well, yeah, don't let the kid have it, but I'm gonna have, I'm gonna eat this, crappy, whatever, like this pizza or something. And don't get me wrong, I love pizza growing up, but it put me in the hospital. I had to be life flight and have an organ removed because of it. So it's not you can't have stuff once in a while, but you want to start looking at the quality of your ingredients and the inputs that are going into your body and your children's body. Now, on the break, Forrest brought up a point about prescriptions and stuff like that. Well, let me just pull up I pulled up some statistics to blow people's minds. There's a lot of children today that are on Ritalin, aka cocaine. Okay, they are prescribed cocaine by doctors, basically. That's what Ritalin is. And I just looked this up. It's flabbergasting. And that's kids 6 to 11 with ADHD prescribed stimulants, 69% of the children. Teens 12 to 17 with ADHD prescribed stimulants, 62%. Adults prescribed Ritalin, 6.6%. Total estimated prescriptions for Ritalin in the United States is 2019, 14,233,405. Think about that. So your children are being put on cocaine because of what they've been eating since they grew up, because from the chicken nuggets and the French fries and the Coca-Cola and the Dr. Pepper and the bullshit Jell-O that's got cancer-causing dyes in it, and the Paws Easter egg dyes, the colors. I mean, I did a whole expose on the Paws Easter egg things years ago. They have cancer-causing chemicals, and you're like making cancer eggs with your kids, and then you go hide them, and they go find them. It's a fun time. Now, it could be a fun time, and those eggs were probably grown in chickens that were in pens that were fed antibiotics and hormones, and they were genetically modified, so they have massive breasts, and you can actually take X-rays of some of these chicken. Their bones are so paper thin that their bones aren't even really showing up on the X-rays because they've been so manipulated. Turkeys, an example, have been so manipulated. Think about this next Thanksgiving. They can't even procreate anymore. They can't have sex. All the turkeys now for commercial use are being artificially inseminated because they've been made so weird that they can't even have sex with each other.
Wow.
And we're eating these frankenfoods, these disgusting weird things. And then what do you think that's going to turn us into? If you put crap into your body, you're going to look like crap and you're going to feel like crap and you're going to have a crappy life.
What about Beyond Meat? That stuff.
Yeah, that stuff is nasty. Like, why do you have, if you're going to eat meat, then freaking go try to get meat. I would say go eat grass-fed beef, organic, the best you can, no hormones, no antibiotics, and very important, if you're going to eat meat, no nitrates and no nitrites. Those things are going to kill you. And like the other stuff, it's all adding up. Now, if you went into a grocery store, all across these grocery stores in America, and if they did not put nitrates and nitrites into the food, into those meats, 40% of that meat would be gray in color. Now, could you imagine walking into a butcher shop or in the meat section and 40% of the meat is gray? Would anybody in their right mind say, give me the gray one? First off, you might not buy anything in that store because you're wondering, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah,
back there. How are they allowing this? But here's the deal. You are, because that's what's going on. They're all 40% of them are gray. They're gray. You can't see it because they've dyed it red, nitrates and nitrites. Stay away from this stuff. I didn't have the awareness of this stuff. Now, if you stop buying that stuff, the industry changes. They go away, or they change and they start making better products. Again, we hold all the cards. We vote with our dollars. We are either going to drive our children to a successful, happy, healthy life, or you're going to drive chemicals into them that are going to destroy their brain, and then they're going to go down to the doctor and they're going to put them on Ritalin. They're going to put them on cocaine and the depression medication, the anxiety medication. I could type like watch this. I'll type in how many children on anxiety meds, and watch this. It's terrible. More kids getting on anxiety medication without therapy. Best anxiety medication for children. More kids are anxious, but fewer get the right help, study shows. Treating pediatric with SSRI drugs. I mean, it's just on and on. Mental health treatment among ages 5 to 17 years. There's all these articles on this. It's like, this wasn't happening when I was growing up. There was one kid that was overweight. Everybody was skinny, pretty happy, and we were going along. But what's happened is it's like it's the raping of the soil. I don't know if Pat brought this up when he was on, because he's into soil health like me. But there was a study in Ohio done, I think it was Ohio State University. They took 1 acre of soil and they weighed the bacterium in that soil, the beneficial bacterium that actually drive the nutrients into the root of the plant so that we can eat it, or the animal that eats the plant, we get it. And they had 2,000 pounds of bacterium, these beneficial bacterium in the soil, 2,000 pounds, 1 ton. 40 years later, 2004, they do another study. They test it, 100 pounds. 1,900 pounds of the beneficial bacterium in the soil, which are the very same bacterium that are in your gut. Most of these are the exact same bacteria in your gut, have been gone. Again, it's been tilled out. Tilling kills, raped, destroyed. Okay, it's gone. And some of that 100 pounds was genetically modified. So some of the roots of our problems, we've destroyed our soil, we've destroyed our nutrients, and our kids are polluted with chemicals, and they're stressed out. So when you have a child that is full of toxic chemicals, especially heavy metals, like if your children are drinking out of aluminum cans, breathing, eating out of aluminum cookware, the foil wraps, all this stuff, then chemtrails we're breathing in. What ends up happening, it gets up into the children. It's in the inoculations, right? It's the aluminum adjuvants that are in the shots. These go right into children. That's why a lot of these kids, I can't say it, but a lot of parents have reported to me, kids were fine. They get a jab, and then instantly their kids go downhill and they can't talk and they start banging their head on the wall, right? What's happening is all these heavy metals are coming into your kids from these things, and then they're being zapped by Wi-Fi. So they have all this metal in their brain, and then you have the smart meters, they should call them stupid meters, and then the Wi-Fi is in the house, and people just have no idea. They have no idea because you can't see this stuff. That's where they got you, because it's out of sight, out of mind. You can't see what's happening. So your kids are getting zapped because they're full of heavy metals. The Wi-Fi is zapping their head, and they can't concentrate. And then they're following all this crap on social media. They're deficient in nutrients, completely polluted. They're being zapped, and then they're stressed out. They're stressed out because they're trying to compete. And it's insane. Now half the children today are obese. Go to any school around America and look, they're obese.
So instead of cleaning them up, our doctors want to put them on meds.
Yeah, and the school system
really add to the problem. Ultimately.
And the school system has McDonald's and Taco Bell inside the schools. That's really the solution. More of the same.
All right. Well, we'll be right back, folks, with more from Tim James. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Defending Our Children, everyone. We are learning a ton from Tim James here, health hero of chemicalfreebody.com. And we're learning how we are all being bombarded, especially our children, with all types of chemicals from all directions, the food, the environment, and everything else, how it's interacting with the water, with the electronics and the heavy metals. It's a bad combination for our children to grow and survive and thrive in. So, Tim, let's start talking about solutions. What are things that we can start to do to eliminate all of this threat to our children and start purging this stuff out of our kids and eliminating the input that's poisoning them so badly?
Well, it's really, Craig, it's education. I just realized I get fired up about this stuff, man. But the thing of it is like, I don't want people to live in fear. You can't be scared, because I know when I first got the awareness of what I'm giving people today, I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like, I literally didn't even want to wear my clothes. I'm like, I just want to get naked. And there was nothing I could eat. I literally went to the airport when I flew back from Florida to Oregon. I think we stopped in Denver, and I looked around. I literally couldn't find any food to eat in the airport that was based on what I learned that was fit for the human body. And before, I would have not even thought about it. Like, oh, I'll go grab that. I'll grab this. I wasn't even thinking about it. But that is the reason why I was having all my health issues, my inputs, the food, right? And so I end up getting, like, I think a seaweed salad from this Japanese restaurant. That's the only thing I could find. And they probably had crap in that too. I don't know. So you have to kind of meet people where they're at, especially kids and stuff. So, what I've learned is, like, it depends on the parents. Like, some parents will just, like, I'm this one gal, she was Russian, and she just, like, when she learned this stuff, her instant switch, her family follows, that's the way it is. And she ran the show, and they didn't like it, but they all got healthy and eventually figured it all out. Other parents would be like, they try to do it, but their kids don't want to do it. And then it starts a big fight because they didn't really have a really good high quality relationship in the first place because they got lazy, or they just didn't have the skill sets. Right. And so they had to fight that. The best way to do this for your children, again, is do it for yourself first. Okay. Lead by example. Be like Mama Bear. Like, Mama Bear doesn't say, go do this and go do that. No, she shows you. She takes come over here, and, like, in the fall, there's some salmon. We're going to grab that. We're going to eat them. Oh, okay. Over here, there's some huckleberries. I picked huckleberries this morning. You can see my fingers are blue.
Yep.
We picked a whole bunch of them. They eat these huckleberries. And then, like, oh, look, there's a big male bear. We're going to get the heck out of here because he'll eat you. Right. So she's showing the kids the ropes by example. Right. It's the old adage on the airplane. The stewardesses will come out and say, in the event of a crash, put on your oxygen mask first and then your child's. Why? Because if you sit there bumbling around with your child and you run out of oxygen, you pass out, you're both dead. Right. So you have to put yourself first. This is not a selfish act. It's selfless by putting yourself first. Think about it. You grow up, you're now you're an adult and you got some kids and you're tired, you're overweight like I was, you're kind of burned out. And then you have this medical complication that hits you. Then you go into a broken medical system. Again, they do really good at crisis care, but the chronic stuff fail. F. Okay, our children are dying younger than us. So F, they fail. They should all be fired and replaced with a new system. Not maybe the people working there, but the system does. I'm losing track of my brain here, Craig, so I might need to take some of my Green 85 real quick, and then I'll come back. Just kidding. I know I get going on so many tangents. So you lead by example. I was talking about the airplane deal, like putting yourself first. Okay, so you're older now. Your lifestyle that you're living, if you're in that situation, is that what you want for your children? Like, you're putting everybody else in front of you and you're letting your health and your happiness fail. You're actually leading, you're telling them what to do by your actions, right? So if you're a good parent, you're going to take care of yourself. And you're going to give those permission slips for your children and your spouse to take care of themselves as well. Not that they will. And some of you, like I said, maybe you've got some teenagers and they're out of control right now. Maybe you can't turn them around at this point because the dynamics or whatever. They're younger, it's easier, a lot of cases, but you're letting the tail wag the dog. So, you have to change your life and you have to stay consistent with it. You have to make a commitment. You have to make your health a priority. When's the last time that you've made your health a priority? Ask yourself that question. Look at yourself in the mirror. Have I made my health a priority? And if not, why not? Like, this body is a gift from God. It's like God doesn't make mistakes. Like, you have this wonderful vehicle. How well are you honoring God? Are you taking care of the gift that you've been given? The vehicle that's going to do all these things and accomplish the career stuff that you want to do and the family interactions and going on a canoe ride with your daughter, or going to your son's basketball games, or playing catch in the backyard with your son. Can you physically do these things? Can you do them well? Can you, if your house is on fire, and can you run and grab your children and get them out of there physically? Can you run down, if you hear, I actually heard the story. It's like, this guy told me he was on a kid's trip and he was kind of mentoring, and one of the kids went in the water and he had to run a quarter mile, jump in the water and rescue the kid. And he said he about died because he was so out of shape. But he did rescue the kid. But what if he would have been, 300 pounds? He wouldn't have been able to make it there in time. And that child would have died. Right.
Well,
so if we're
I tell you what, when people do one or two things and they feel the benefit, they start feeling better and it starts becoming tangible to them. I think it's easy to pick up the momentum and start adding other things to it as well. Because that was something that for me is like, I was like, wow, man, I miss some tastier junk foods that I used to have more of. But man, when I don't have them, I feel so much better, and it's totally worth it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of my process anyway.
Yeah. Well, for me, doing the research and becoming Sherlock Holmes on ingredients and finding out how insidious these ingredients were, I'm like, as soon as I find out something causes cancer and it's in something that I like Nutella, I'm like, I'm out. I am not putting that crap in me, but I get it because we're addicted. Like, people don't realize that sugar is only one molecule off from cocaine. It's 3 times more addictive than cocaine. It would be easier for me to get people off cocaine than sugar. That's how addictive. And again, the molecular structure is almost identical to cocaine. That's processed sugar, right? So we have some things going against us because we have these high fructose corn syrups and opiate derivatives that have been put in things like our children's cereal. I mean, that should be illegal, but it's not, to further addict them to these foods. And then the fried foods and, all the things that we're doing, they become very addictive. And then when you have stress in your life, a lot of people will eat to cope with stress. So there's a lot of layers too. And then you got your mom and grandma that you probably love, and they made food with you or something. Or, I actually have a lady, she told me, I was like, she makes all this stuff, and even though she knows it's not good for them, but she says it's the only way I can get my children to come back over to the home. I got to make these foods, otherwise they won't come see me. And I'm like, how sad is that? It's like really sad. But there's some deep stuff going on here, deep emotional relationship type stuff attached to food. So again, put yourself first. And then what you want to do is you just want to get everything clean. You want it fresh. You want to start buying fresh foods, start sprouting if you can, or ask the grocery store manager to bring in sprouts, fresh sprouts, start buying them, start adding them into your foods, living foods. That will start really changing how you feel. We have people take our gut detox product and our toxin detox product and our greens a lot of times to start and let that work through their system. And then all of a sudden the cravings start dropping. Their grocery bill drops about $100 a month. They can't eat as much. They start feeling better. And then they want to go work out. They want to start maybe making a few dishes for themselves. So you got to meet people where they're at. And today people are stressed out, they're deficient, and they're polluted. And we know this. And so we want to give them baby steps, like drinking water, get that flow going through the body, chewing their food really well, avoiding liquids with meals, and, doing some breath work before they eat. Those are some basic things people can do at home that will be tremendous for them. Tremendous.
Well, I feel good knowing when I ask my children, hey, are you chewing to liquefaction? Have I made that clear to you? And like, yes, you keep telling us. I'm like, okay, cool. I've said it before and they do remember. So it's a process. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back with one last segment from Tim James. Welcome back, everyone, to Defending Our Children. This is our last segment with health hero Tim James. We're talking about the toxins and what our children are dealing with, how we can protect them from it. Man, there's been a lot of information today. It's been a fast-paced show. Thank you for all your contributing to everybody and our listeners, Tim, and look forward to learning a little bit more in this last segment.
Awesome. What would you guys like to talk about now?
Oh, man. So we've talked about water. We've talked about a lot of the foods, the drugs that are put into the kids. Solutions, more solutions. So we talked about what we do want to feed them, all the fresh stuff without the toxins in it. Filters for the water. That's great stuff. What else do you see that's possible? Grounding. Let's talk about a little grounding, man. That's something I've told my kids: go outside, stand on the ground as often as you can throughout the day.
Well, this brings up a good point, and I have to really make a big deal about this because it took me a while to understand it. Like, everybody listening here, you're from nature, right? What's your body mostly made of? Water. Where do you find that? Rivers, creeks, ponds. It's on this planet. What I'm about to tell you, this is very profound. This was a big shift mentally, and I hope this shifts everybody else mentally too. The bacteria in your gut are the very same bacteria that are in the soil, most of them. So where did that come from? From the earth. The minerals that compose your bone structure, where does that come from? The minerals in the earth. So it is clear that you are from this planet, right? You are made of the exact same elements of the earth. The only difference than a tree is we're like ants. We're walking around. We're just like walking trees, basically, right? So you are connected to the earth and nature. There is no disconnection there. The disconnection is why you're suffering. The disconnection is why you have poor health. The disconnection is why you have anxiety. The disconnection is why you're overweight. The disconnection is why you have cancer, why you have fibromyalgia, why you have ulcerative colitis, why you have Crohn's, why you have headaches. All this disconnection. So now that you understand that you're connected to the earth and that you are nature, you also have to understand that the earth is part of our solar system. Our solar system is part of the galaxies. The galaxy is part of the universe. And now physicists are talking about the multiverse. So literally, the power of the universe is literally inside of you. You are connected to the universe. How cool is that? And when you understand that you have this power inside of you, it's kind of motivating. It's like, wow, I have unlimited power and potential. I can create anything in this life that I want. And the only thing stopping me from do that is all the clouded BS that society conditioning and our parental conditioning has got. If you can cut through those clouds, because all we really are at a deeper level, guys, is unconditional love. And that love is shining like the sun. But the problem is that the clouds have gotten away. That's the societal conditioning, the parental conditioning, all these chemicals, all the crap. And if we can just start brushing that stuff away and taking action on a daily basis, the meditation, the prayer, doing good things, helping out other people, cleaning up our bodies, loving our children, then the sun will start shining again. And it's always shining. It's always there. And that is the most important thing. So for me, what has happened is that, yeah, I was all a mess. I was eating the standard American diet. I had a huge ego as a redneck, chewing tobacco and drinking whiskey and beer and all that stuff. I don't do any of that crap anymore. Right. But when I got clean and I started raising my vibrational frequency, like literally, like my cellular frequency is higher now. So I burn out disease in my body and I don't have free radical damage like I used to. It tapped me more into God. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I knew there was more. I really didn't have that much of a spiritual connection back then. I mean, I guess we all do, but I was disconnected from it. And in 2011, it was like a light turned on and I knew it. But it wasn't until 2018, 7 years later, that I finally started making sense of it. And I finally got some toolkits that I used in it. And then it really tapped me into, my higher mind, the higher purpose in God. Right. So for me now, the big thing is like just helping people to tap into their own consciousness and really you can't really raise consciousness. Consciousness is there, but more tapping into it, getting through those clouds and tapping into that unconditional love. Because if we all start operating from the heart space instead of the brain and allow the heart to let the brain follow the heart rather than vice versa, all of our problems go away very quickly. There's no reason to raise your voice at your spouse or your children. There's no reason to have road rage. There's really no reason that we're fighting other working class people around this country. If all the working class people just started operating from our heart, and I'll give you an example. For years, I'd go up here with my buddies and we would go watch the UFC fights. We'd watch them all the time. But when I saw Justin Gaethje literally destroy Tony Ferguson's face and they didn't stop that fight until later, even I was just like, oh my God. And I'm like, stop the fight. And I started having, I almost started crying. I'm just like, and my buddy's like, yeah, doing this stuff. And that used to be me. But things started changing for me years ago. And I watched that and I'm like, God, I don't know if I can watch this anymore. Watching these guys, they beat the crap out of themselves. I've coached Pat on his health. A lot of these guys, they in their 50s and 60s, man, they are miserable. They are in pain from all that stuff they put them through. The same thing with the military. The anthrax shocks, the jumping out of the airplanes, the knees, the smashing, the hardcore training. That's hard on the human body. It's like teenagers taking a rental car and just driving the crap out of it,
Yeah.
So this raise of consciousness is what's so important. And until the consciousness of the planet continues to shift and tap into that, we're going to have the same problem. So it's really the child trafficking, the chemicals in the womb of our children on Ritalin, aka cocaine, the breakdown of the school food system. All this stuff is there because we're operating in a lower consciousness and we're allowing this stuff. I'm telling you right now that I've been lit up, I don't allow any of this crap in my life and I don't like it in my community. So I'm getting involved in my life first. I'm getting myself right so I can lead by example, lead by frequency. Dude, it works. My kids are following. They're following me now and they're doing, not all of it, but a lot of them. My youngest son now, he is like all on board with the health train. He wants to be as healthy as he possibly can. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke marijuana. He didn't do any of that crap. He is lit up. He wants to create a business. He wants to help people. He wants to do stuff. Same thing with my other son. They are doing awesome. And then you help your family, and then you're setting an example for other people. They're seeing you're healthy, your family's healthy. They want some of that. How are you doing it? You share. This war is not going to be won online. It's going to be war. It's going to be offline. It's going to be boots on the ground, door to door, people changing themselves, changing their families, and getting involved in their communities. And not, you got to draw a line in the sand. Are you going to accept 2 million children a year being abducted? Are you going to accept like 14 million kids on what we talked about earlier that were was it? Oh, it wasn't diabetes. What were we talking about earlier? It wasn't ADHD.
It was the medicines. Yeah.
It was the ADHD. 14 million prescriptions on Ritalin, and most of those are our children. Are we going to allow this anymore? This is ridiculous. The fentanyl and all this crap coming in. Like, if you can protect your own home and you can protect your community, the culmination of all that, it's over. Like it's just all this is over, and it all begins with us. And don't think that you are not powerless. One person can make a difference. Look at that woman that started MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Her daughter was killed by a drunk driver, and out of her bedroom, she built that entire organization. Like you have the power of God and the universe locked inside of you. Everybody listening here can transform this entire world with a thought. And all you have to do is you just have to do it. You just have to believe that and see that that's you, and you have this unlimited power, and just start doing it. And if you need some help with your health, that's what we help people do. We want to activate you, get your brain clear, get your health active so you can go out and do what I just said.
Well, right on. I think it's a good message, and practical steps that people can take. Clean up the kids' diets, get rid of all the toxic meds, find healthier solutions, alternatives, and live better. Start from the inside out, spiritually, physically. That's the way we solve things. Lead by example and lead others to the truth as well. So, Tim, let's sign off by letting you one more time drive people to where to find you and support what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So just our website's chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com. When you go there, there'll be a little pop-up. We actually give new people 3 free gifts. You'll get the free Core 4 Secrets ebook that talks about the 4 things you can do at home that don't cost anything. You get your health right. You get a 30-minute health strategy session with our coaches. It's free. It's $197 value. And then you also get a $10 gift card for all new customers. And when you go there, if you want to start, like we have a lot of people go to our shop tab. If you want to get I'll show you how to get a double discount. Go to our bundle specials and then pick one of the bundles. And then at checkout, put in the code SAWMAN and you get an extra 5% off. That way you get a double discount, and we have a double your money back guarantee on all of our doctor formulated products. So our formulator, Dr. Scott Treadaway, is a former Marine, and he studied Ayurvedic system science. So hopefully you guys can check it out.
Thank you, Tim. For the rest of you guys, thank you for joining us. Join us next time on Defending Our Children.